So drawing the gradient function here, the gradient graph of this function. We can look for continuity first. So certainly continuous here, but we'll see obviously at this point here x equals 3 is not continuous, therefore there will be no gradient. So when we draw our gradient graph, we're going to have open circles to show that. Then looking for smoothness, so it needs to be smooth and continuous. So if we look at this section here, we got a gradient of 0, and then where it joins, if you look closely here, the gradient here is actually 0 in this function at the turning point. This is actually a cosine function. Okay, you see. So the gradient is actually 0 of this section at -2. So where the two functions join, the gradient's the same. So because the gradient's the same, then it's a smooth join. So therefore there will be a gradient at -2. Certainly not smooth at 3, but we already know because it's not continuous there, there's not going to be a gradient. So looking at the function, if we bring this over here and draw the gradient function, then we can see here the gradient 0 in this line, so that's going to be a horizontal line along the x-axis here. And then once we get to this point, the gradient's going to be negative, so it's going to shoot down steep negative. When you go halfway, it's going to start to come towards 0 again when you hit the turning point, which will therefore have an x-intercept at 0. Also have an x-intercept at 2, because that's another point of 0 gradient here. This section here, it's a positive gradient. So the steepest part of the gradient is halfway between the two turning points rather. So that will be the maximum gradient there. And then it will tend towards 0 and go through the axis here. And then it will be a negative gradient from there on in until it finishes one open circle here. This section here, we got an all negative gradient. So it's going to start down here with an open circle again. And then tend towards 0 as we go. So we just run the animation here. So the red will be our gradient function. So gradient of 0 here coming across, and you'll see here there's a smooth join, but the gradient will jump down negative here. Okay, but you'll see there is a gradient, no open circle here. Go through at 0 because that's the minimum here, the maximum's at 2, so we'll go through at 2. It'll stop here with an open circle and then start here with an open circle tending towards 0. So we just need to fill in this part here, and that will be our gradient function.